Hi friends, welcome back to Feed the Sheep podcast. I'm your host, Kelsey Keeling with Balanced Ruminant Grazers. I'm a wife to my soulmate Ryan, mother of 4, daughter of Christ, who is always working to be a Proverbs 31 woman. Join me as I share my passion for hair sheep by taking you along as we work to create a balanced sheep flock of Australian whites in South Central Kansas. I hope these episodes and conversations not only educate you, but inspire you to add our sheep to your farm someday. Now let's get to talking sheep. Hi guys, so we are out here at our sheep lot, and I just wanted to, this whole week we've been talking about fencing, and I wanted to show you guys just another option of something that we did on our farm. Ryan and I talked about it just a little bit, but I thought it'd be better to just go ahead and bring you guys out here and show you it. If you are on the podcast, I suggest you probably go over to YouTube and watch this video. That way you can see what I'm explaining. I'll try my best to explain it, but yeah, it'll be just better for you to watch it on YouTube. That way you can see exactly what I'm talking about. So last year we were in a drought and had a hard time grazing just because we had a growing sheep flock and had all of our cows. Since then we've cut down our numbers on the cows because of the drought, but we were faced with the decision of what to do going into winter with our sheep, our growing sheep flock, because we had purchased 50 more sheep in September and the drought did not break, and so we just kind of had to throw this together in the drought. So if you can imagine putting in corner posts, and when you can't even put your step-ins, which is like less than a pencil width, into the ground, you couldn't step those posts in, but we had to drill in corners. Let me tell you, it was miserable. Plus we had to put in our fiberglass posts. Again, miserable. We had to dump water, 5-gallon buckets where we were going to pound the post at, and then we would come back, pound them in as far as we could, and then dump more water on each post and try again to pound them in. Same thing with the corners. They were probably even more miserable. But I wish I knew the acreage on this lot. I would say it's about 3 acres total. It might be closer to 4, but this ground didn't really do anything, hasn't really done anything for us, and just kind of poor ground. And so we decided to put it here. It was close to the house, close to our water source. So that was a big decision for us, and we ended up really liking it. Probably going to utilize it more for the winter. It also is cow proof, which you guys will see. But so it's worked out really nice that we could put cows here, or wean steers, and then also sheep. So we kind of scrapped this together just because it was things that we had, and we knew that we had to put the sheep somewhere for the winter and keep them contained, trying to make sure that they didn't learn how to jump the electric fence terribly and like break all of their training that we've done. So this is what we did, but we ended up doing 5 strands of barbed wire just because we had a bunch of barbed wire laying around. I do apologize about all the weeds. We'll just try to get to a corner or something where there's not as many weeds and you guys can see better. But we did 6 strand barbed wire, and it's not super tight, just because I don't know, we weren't able to stretch it the way that we didn't have all the materials that we wanted to stretch it super tight, but it's tight enough. And then we did 2 strand of Hi-Tensile electric on the inside. And as we were talking about perimeter fencing, I just thought this would be a good thing to show you guys. If you guys want me to go over like how we do our corners and stuff in more details, let me know. Put a comment on YouTube, and I can have Ryan talk about corners and even gates if you guys are interested in that as well. But yeah, this is just kind of how it looks. So the offset isn't very much. And I think Ryan talked about this, but it gives a good grounding effect for the sheep. If they were to try to jump through this high tensile, they would touch the barbed wire, which would then ground them out and give them a good shock, which we like. Teach them not to try to jump through it or go under it. But yeah, our dogs were in here with our sheep, and it ended up being just fine. We did have one that learned how to dip under the fence. She was kind of a stinker anyways, so she went to the butcher, and that is totally fine with me. She tastes very good. Had a few lamb chops already. But let me go down here and I'll show you guys the gates that we put in. So we did make sure to put gates in different locations. We tried to think things out the best that we could, but still there would probably be a few different adjustments that we'd make to it. This was one of the gates that Ryan did. You do not need a gate this heavy duty. I don't remember why I think we just wanted to have everything, you know, like close to a hard fence as possible. That way we didn't have to worry about them getting out. So my husband, when he builds something, he likes to build it very stout and not have to redo it. So that's what these gates were. Just using materials that we had. And then up north here, you might be able to see it. I'm not going to walk all the way up there, but there's another just hard gate up there that kept everybody in. We have our sheep shed in here. A tire came off, so it needs to be repaired. That way we can pull it out to the sheep. But yeah, I don't know what else to really show you guys. I can walk down here. We did there's kind of like a little creek area that runs through here, so that gave us a little bit of obstacle with making sure that you know, there was wires where they were supposed to be. We haven't had like a big rain come through here yet, so if that were to happen, it could possibly ground out the fence. In that case, we could always shut this lot off for the electric fence for temporary, and then turn it back on when we were ready for it. But the sheep definitely respected it. The dogs respected it. That's all that you could ask for. So right up here is where this little creek dip is. We have a nice tree row in here. We put our girls in here in the fall, and it actually really worked out for them eating leaves. They loved it. This was also great protection for the winter. Just kind of a windbreak, sorry. So right here is that area. It dips down and has culvers, so hopefully we don't have a problem, but we might eventually. And this lot is actually shut off right now for the electric fence. When we do decide to put something in there, again, we'll have to go back through and weed eat and mow around the edges of it, and that'll be fun. If you guys want a whole video on grounding out, or a podcast on grounding out your fence and all the different ways that you need to maintenance your fence, let me know. We can definitely talk more about that. We have learned the hard way over the last 4 or 5 years, and that's okay. You just gotta learn, and that's fine. This is actually really quick. This is like a little alleyway that we kind of use, obviously a dirt path in between our house and my mother-in-law's house, father-in-law's house. But it works really well as an alley. That's why we were excited to put this fence on the other side, because it walks straight to our corral. So our corral is just right here. But this is a nice path that kind of keeps the cows. We would always have to put a poly braid right along this part, and now we don't have to worry about that. We have a little gap that we do have to put a poly braid across, just so they don't try to go back here by the chief shed. But other than that, it works really well. So I will go ahead and end this video here. Like I said, if you guys have more questions on different things, this sparked a question, let me know and we can try to address it. But this is definitely, if you have barbed wire just laying around, or you can get barbed wire cheap, this has been a great option for us to have on the farm. We're definitely going to be able to utilize it in the future, so we're excited about that. Okay guys, we will see you in the next episode. Next week we are actually talking all about water, so be ready for that. Water tanks, what water tanks to use, float valves, lots of different topics there. So we'll see you guys then. Bye guys.